Hi there friends, it's Sarah from Ruffles and Rain Boots, and today I'm making a no-sew-fuzzy bee gnome. Ooh, he's the bee's knees. If you'd like to make him, boop, stick around. As always, please hit that like button so I know you're here. And just to let you know, this cutie is 12 inches tall. He's got wings and a honey dripper. He is made with a no-sew pattern. It's called the tucked gnome pattern. All right, very popular pattern. We're going to start out with the pattern: sheer fabric, floral wire, fur, and fleece in black and yellow. I know it's extremely inspired for a bee gnome, right? Okay, I'm going to start out by cutting the two pattern pieces in black, and then I'm cutting 1-inch strips for both the body and the hat. Now we're going to cut 1/4-inch strips for the arms if you're using them, but a little bigger for these guys. I'm going to lay those on top of the hat and the body, making sure I have just a little bit hanging over off of each side. Guess what's coming? You probably guessed it. It's gluing. We're going to glue these down. I didn't use fabric hot glue, although it does exist. This worked just fine. So I'm just going to basically tack down these so that if there are any cuts showing, you kind of tuck those in and turn those down. But it's really, really quick to get all these on. And then you can trim it up a little bit, but make sure you still have fold over. And the reason we're going to do that is because we need it to align. So go ahead and glue those tabs down on one side. Next up, we're going to do the body. I'm going to fast forward this so you don't have to watch me do the exact same thing again. Again, just trim those so there's a little hangover. And then we're going to flip those over on one side just like we did on the other. Now this part's important. Be sure to follow the pattern of where and when it tells you to hot glue. This is a sort of engineering feat, this little body here. Make sure that glue is set, turn it outside right, and then grab poly beads and polyfill. I'm going to fill my gnome body about halfway up with poly beads, and that will give it the weight, and a very generous portion of polyfill. You want to be able to squeeze it and the body bounces back, drop it, and it stays upright. Okay, now we're going to move on to the hat. We're going to do the exact same thing. Do cut off the excess fabric up at the top, turn it in outside right, and then use something not so pointy to get the tip of the hat out. My little piece, I didn't glue those down, so I'm going to glue those two little pieces down, and then I'm going to hem the hat all the way around. Now it's fleece, so you don't technically need to do this. I just like it when it's kind of finished and looks good. First up, I'm going to add a little bit of polyfill into the very tip of the hat. Just making sure I like everything and where it is. And then I'm going to cut my beard and attach that with hot glue. I like to make sure it looks good after it's attached, so I just do the top first. And then when I like everything, I glue the entire beard down. In order to get the place for the nose, I test fit the hat again, split the fur all the way to the fabric backing, and then add my nose. If your noses are falling off in shipping or eventually over time, make sure you get to the fabric backing. I doubled over that floral wire and added it all the way up to the tippy top and glued it to the back seam. And then I stuffed the rest of the hat. It is a very poofy hat. I thought it was really cute, but the wire allows us to make those little cute little bends. Okay, so as you can imagine, we're just going to tack down this hat over the nose and in the very back, in the center. Okay, so if you aren't using arms, you can actually glue the entire hat down, but I'm going to make arms for my little guy after I do everything else. So for the wings, I'm going to make them very similar to the mini kissing mini kissing bee gnomes. I'm going to create a large loop and a small loop, join those together, wrap the wire a considerable amount so that we never have it undo, and then I'm going to repeat that. Next up, I'm going to join those two together by taking the ends of their pieces and twisting those within 1 inch of their inanimate life. I just wanted to make sure they don't come undone. So I'm going to lay that down on a piece of wax paper and then put my sheer fabric down, put the wings on top and glue into each of the loops. So we're just adding glue. And if a little glue comes out like it did on the top right there, don't worry. Look at that. So you do want to let it dry for just a second. You can see I picked it up without it coming apart, but I do want you to know you have to press down another piece of shimmer fabric. And what this is going to do is it's going to make them look really finished, because you can see both the outsides and insides when they're this big. If it's not sticking, just take the tip of your hot glue gun, warm up the glue that's there, or add a thin layer of hot glue. Once that's all dry, you just snip, snip, snip. You just cut out all the way around your wings, even the little hot glue that might have escaped. And the last step for these is just to clip that extra bit of wire off. Now, if you are shipping these or selling, I would 100% recommend that you add stitches. By the way, this pattern is available for commercial use. You have to buy the license, but it's a fun pattern to make. All right, so I'm making the arms now, so I measured how long I needed those to be and how wide I wanted them to be. I doubled it, and I'm just adding 1/4 inch strips that are mostly, I mean, they're not even, okay? But I figure in nature a bee isn't even. Probably is. There's some magical formula, probably. But I just doubled over some floral wire, and then I'm doing the exact same thing I did with everything else. And I'm just aligning the little yellow pieces. A little bit different here in that we're not going to flip this outside right. So we're doing wrong sides together for the arms, and then just lining up the edges of our yellows. Because I wanted him to hold it honey dripper, I loaded a really cheap hot glue gun with yellow hot glue and made honey drippers. I stuffed them in a piece of floral foam to dry while I attached the arms. To attach those, we're just going to tuck them up, make sure they're even. You can pin them in place. And then we're going to do arm to body glue first, and then hat to arm glue second. And the reason is because they just move around a lot, and if you want to keep them even, that's my tip. Next up, I just added little wood beads for hands, bent the arm, added hot glue to the top of his arm, and attached the honey dropper. I have no idea what that's called. If you know what it's called, or would like to tell me what you think of this, just add a comment below. I really appreciate you being here. Go ahead and watch another video. I've got tons. As always, thanks again. Like and subscribe for more crafty fun.